Welcome back, Patriots. Welcome to Sons of Liberty 1773. Trust, at least hope everybody had a wonderful, happy new year. But now it is January 2nd, 2023, year of our Lord, and it's time to get back to dealing with reality. So, what they're doing in Washington and what they've been doing for decades is absolutely criminal, folks. They are stealing from us. They are destroying our currency. They are destroying our life's work. Inflation is like a hidden tax, and it's a really bad one when inflation is up. But there's 5 new taxes that are started yesterday. You need to hear about them. It won't be a long video. Stick with me though. This is going to be important. You're going to want to hear this. Okay, so here we go. Hang on, folks. I just got to get back up here. There we go. I'll go through these fairly quick. This is over at Gateway Pundit. Biden economy. Biden wiped out $10 trillion of Americans' wealth. In 2022 saw worst bond and equity losses since 1871. Democrats to increase taxes in 2023 during highest inflation in 40 years and worst bond stock equity losses since 1871. And here's where the pain starts to come, folks, as if it ain't bad enough, right? 60% of Americans are living hand to mouth. The economy is spiraling into the abyss, all from this wicked regime we have. But this is over at Zero Hedge. Here's a list of Biden's tax hikes, which will take effect yesterday. When the Democrats finally passed the Inflation Reduction Act in 2022, how's that going, by the way? They included several tax hikes set to take effect yesterday. So these taxes are now in place, folks. $6.5 billion natural gas tax, which will increase household energy bills. Think your household energy bills aren't high now. Just wait until the 3 major energy taxes in the Inflation Reduction Act. Everything the left says it's the absolute opposite, right? It's the Inflation Causation Act, not the Reduction Act. But wait until this stuff hits your wallet. The first is a regressive tax on Americans' oil and gas development, right? There's a war on fossil fuels by the eco-terrorist, and this is part of it. The tax will drive up the cost of household energy bills. The Congressional Budget Office estimates the natural gas tax will increase taxes by $6.5 billion. And of course, this tax hike violates Biden's pledge not to raise taxes on Americans making under $400,000 per year. According to the American Gas Association, the methane tax will slap a 17% increase on the average family's natural gas bill. And keep in mind, natural gas is used for making fertilizer. It's used to run factories, right? So their energy costs are going to go up, and they're not going to eat it, folks. It's going to get very inflationary. It's going to get passed on to the consumer. Electric power plants, many of them now are natural gas plants. Your electric bill is going to necessarily skyrocket, right? 12 billion crude oil tax, which includes household cost. The tax hike violates again President Biden's tax pledge not to pledge to any Americans making less than $400,000 a year that he wouldn't increase their taxes. Well, they lie, don't they? That's what they do. So this is a 6.16, I don't know what C barrel tax on crude oil and imported petroleum products which will end up at on the shoulder of the consumers in the form of higher tax prices and gas prices. As noted above, Biden administration officials have repeatedly admitted taxes that raise consumer energy prices are in violation of the president's pledge. And if it weren't bad enough, Democrats have pledged their oil tax increase to inflation. As inflation increases, so will the level of the tax. So it's a gift that keeps on giving. $1.2 billion coal tax and a $74 billion stock tax, which will hit your nest egg, 401ks, IRAs, and pension plans. Democrats are now imposing a new federal excise tax when Americans sell shares of stock back to a company. Raising taxes and restricting stock buybacks harms the retirement savings of any individuals with a 401k, IRA, or pension plan. Union retirement plans will also be hit. The tax, I think that is karma, to be honest. The tax will put U.S. employers at a competitive disadvantage with China, which does not have such a tax. Stock buybacks help grow retirement accounts. Raising taxes and restricting buybacks would harm the 58% of Americans who own stock and more than 60 million workers invested in 401ks. An additional 14.83 million Americans are invested in 529 education savings accounts. Retirement accounts hold the largest share of corporate stocks, accounting for roughly 37% of the outstanding $22.8 trillion in U.S. corporate stock, according to the Tax Foundation. In 2017, corporate-sponsored funds made up $4.5 trillion in market value. Union-sponsored funds accounted for $409 billion. And public-sponsored funds, which benefit teachers and police officers, added up to $4.25 trillion. A tax on buybacks could dissuade companies from doing so, and U.S. companies will face significant compliance costs, which will again be passed on to the consumers. I'm sorry, folks. Then a $225 billion corporate tax hike, which will be passed on to the households. American businesses reporting at least $1 billion in profits over the past 3 years will now face a 15% corporate alternative minimum tax, which will be passed along in the form of higher prices, fewer jobs, and lower wages, according to the Americans for Tax Reform. A Tax Foundation report from last December found a 15% book tax would reduce GDP by 0.1% and kill 27,000 jobs. Preliminary cost estimates from the Congressional Budget Office found the provision would increase taxes by more than $225 billion. According to JCT's analysts, 49.7% of the tax would be borne by the manufacturer's industry at a time when manufacturers are already struggling with supply chain disruptions. Which industries will likely be most affected, according to the Tax Foundation? The coal industry faces the heaviest burden of the book minimum tax, facing the net tax hike of 7.2% of its pre-tax book income, followed by automotive and truck manufacturing, which faces a 5.1% tax hike. Really good article, folks. I will put that as a pinned comment down below. So that's they want the communist. They want every dime we have. They want to figure out anywhere you've got money, they want to take it. Okay. They need an income source. They don't produce anything, these piece of craps in Washington, right? They steal from us, from the producers, and give to the to their lazy base, the woke crowd, to stay in power. But they're absolutely destroying us, folks. And there's so much bad stuff coming for 2023. I made my predictions yesterday, and I sensationalized and, was doing it for more entertainment purposes. But the main theme was 2023 is going to be a real shite show. SH blank T show. And I tell everybody, pay stuff off, folks. I still think real estate, tangible stuff is the best place to put money. My opinion, I'm not a financial guy. Do your own research. Gold, silver, real estate, antiques, classic cars, guns, stuff that's got an intrinsic value that'll always be in demand, like real estate, right? I think if you can get debt-free and get rid of payments, right now is the opportune time to be doing it. And then just a couple other articles I want to share here real quick. I brought this up before. Big Brother, get rid of that. Big Brother will watch you drive. A disgusting infrastructure bill installs kill switches in all new vehicles, turns America into, more into a police state. I think we're already there. Many people view cruising alone down an open road as the ultimate form of freedom. We regret to inform you that liberty will completely evaporate soon unless Congress acts. The website Motorius reported on Friday that former Georgia Congressman Bob Barr has been sounding the alarm on the terrifying item buried within the Biden-McConnell infrastructure legislation, which passed in August 2021. According to Barr, the government will now have the power to shut off your vehicle if they determine you are partaking in any legal activity. So, right, you know how the police do the pit maneuver. They'll pull up and then bump the back of the car and get it to spin out. Now they're just going to push a button and your car's going to shut off. Well, now for a criminal, that's, making a getaway, that robbed a bank or did some other sinister thing, okay, great, right? But we haven't broken any laws. And I don't want the government to have the right to shut my vehicle off. Eventually it's going to be driverless cars, and the government's just going to, someone like me, the doors are going to lock, and I'm going to notice the car turn the wrong way, and the government will have taken the wheel, and they're going to say, sorry, Mr. Bailey, you've been considered high risk, and we're taking you to the local FEMA camp. Please enjoy your ride. But I'm against all this tyrannical stuff. I shared the video the other day, the Rumba vacuum, photographed a girl on the toilet in her home and put the pictures ended up on the internet. The smart TVs, the smartphones, it's all part of the government's surveillance state. And it's way beyond what George Orwell envisioned, way beyond. And I don't think this goes into effect, shutting the vehicles off till 2030 or something. So maybe they'll figure out how to stop it by then. Let's hope they do. Or I won't. I'm not buying any vehicle with any of that technology. So that's going to be bad for the car business. Mike Pompeo, I think he's a deep state operative, folks. I do not like Mike Pompeo. Says China is trying to infect the world with a new, bioweapon. U.S. must ban all incoming China travelers. Well, that was one of my predictions. I made my 12 predictions that there's going to be another bad virus, and there's going to be tyrannical lockdowns, and the whole, it's all going to play out again, and it'll be worse. Northern California welcomes a new year with a 5.4 magnitude earthquake. There is damage, folks. I was reading some of the tweets. Let's see where I was reading it down here a little further. Redwood residents reported property damage on Sunday. More than 1,000 people lost power on Sunday. This one guy tweeted, "I'm in Rio Del, hard hit, lots of damage around town. Scanner traffic is constant, water and gas leaks, more houses off foundations, more chimneys down, parts of town without power." And there was one earlier in the year I reported on. It was a 6.4 earthquake struck around the same location in Northern California in Northern California, not too long before Christmas. With that one, more than 70,000 were without power. I would get out of California. I think God's not happy with the wokeness out there, and might be a good time to move to a low tax freedom state, maybe Texas, Tennessee, maybe Florida. Incoming Republican Rep. Anna Pauline Luna says House member threatened her for not supporting Kevin McCarthy. Well, yeah, they're brutal. If you step out of line, they want to destroy you, right? And she's not putting up with it, folks. She's a tough girl. Matt Gaetz, Americans want an honest and hard-working Speaker of the House, not Kevin McCarthy. I don't want Kevin McCarthy. I think he's a rhino piece of crap. So I'm with Matt Gaetz on that. Speaker in major doubt, McCarthy caves on key GOP rebel demand. Look, he's going to put up the smoke and mirrors. No, I'm one of you now. I've learned my lesson. Make me Speaker, and then he's going to sell us out. That's what he's going to do. Matt Gaetz knows it. He's warning everybody. And here, sign of the times, right? Talking about the earthquakes in California. California is now a sanctuary state for transgender children. California is now a sanctuary state for children seeking transgender procedures and medications. The bill was passed in September, but went into effect January 1st, yesterday. So that's it, folks. I wanted to tell you about the 5 new taxes, everything they're doing. This country's already spiraling into the abyss. Our economy is tanking. But I'm going to tell you, this stuff that's coming is the last nail in the coffin. It's going to be I think there's going to be, like, my opinion, the greatest stock market collapse, that we're going to go into the greatest depression, not the greatest recession, the greatest depression. And it's going to be tens of millions of Americans are going to find themselves living in squalor and absolute poverty. That's what I think. Didn't have to happen. And it all goes back, folks. When did all this ill really get ratcheted up? Not that bad stuff wasn't happening, but it all goes back to 3 of November 2020 with the Biden regime that came to power. Just immediately started destroying this country. First executive order he signed was to end American energy independence, to get rid of America First, our America First energy policy. Look it up. And Mitch McConnell, he is just a slimeball piece of crap too. We got rhinos. I mean, look at the demo commies are just flat out evil. But I'm not so sure the rhinos aren't worse, because at least the demo commies tell you, I'm a commie. I'm going to raise your taxes. I'm going to take away your private property rights. I'm going to bring tyranny to America. They don't hide from that. That's what they're going to do. The Republicans, though, we're one of the good guys. No, we're all for about our limited government, constitutional republic, and individual rights. We want to shrink government. Yeah, right. So I think they're worse because they're liars. So let me know what you think again in the comments down below. I'm going to end it here. As always, Patriots, keep the faith, keep moving forward. We never surrender. We never retreat. And if you're not sleeping good, go over to mypillow.com and use promo code SOL1773. Bye.